Most people avoid financial planning for the same reason they avoid the dentist. They're afraid of what they're going to find. Underneath all the talk about stocks, pensions and tax, there is usually one single silent question that keeps people up at night. It's not, how do I beat the S&P 500? It's simply, am I going to be okay? For decades, the financial industry tried to answer that question by selling you a microwave meal, a quick product that didn't really taste like your actual life. But today, I want to show you the slow cooker approach. We're going to pull back the curtain on a new kind of conversation, one that starts with your purpose instead of your bank balance. We're going to look at how we can actually map out your future to see if you really are going to be okay, and what to do if the map shows a few bumps in the road. Let's head over to the video session and start with the big question.
Planning your financial future. It can feel like you're trying to map a country that doesn't even exist yet, right? Super daunting. But what if? What if you could take all those abstract goals and turn them into a real, interactive roadmap for your life? Well, today we're going to dive in and see exactly how that works. I mean, seriously, how do you even start planning for the next 50 years of your life? You've got retirement, maybe a house, your kids' education. It's all just so far away and so massive. It really is like trying to navigate in the dark without a map. Just a big, confusing mess of numbers and dates that don't seem to connect at all. Okay, but what if you could just ditch that spreadsheet and instead get a visual story of your future? That's the big idea here. We're talking about a single interactive canvas where all your life's big moments come together to paint one super clear financial picture.
All right, so let's get into it. First up, the foundation of this whole approach, the visual canvas. You can almost think of it like the game board for your life, right? It's the framework where we're going to build your entire plan.
So everything starts with this timeline, and right away you'll notice something really different. The main axis, it's not just years like 2030, 2040. Nope, it's your age, and maybe your partner's age too. That simple little shift, it changes everything. It makes the whole plan personal from the get-go. It's a framework that tracks your journey from the only perspective that really matters, yours.
And you're not starting from scratch either, which is nice. The timeline actually comes preloaded with a few key landmarks. You've got the start of your plan, a default retirement age, usually 65, and an end date way out in the future. Think of these as the initial borders of your financial map.
Okay, but a map with just borders isn't very useful, is it? You need your destinations on there. And that's where, honestly, the most powerful feature comes into play. We're talking about events. This is how you make the plan yours. So what's an event? Well, you can think of it as just a place marker. It's not about the money, not yet anyway. It's a moment in time. It could be a goal, like buying a new car, or a bigger aspiration, like traveling the world, or a huge milestone, like a wedding. These are the landmarks that you get to add to your personal map. And here is where it gets really, really smart. You might be thinking, why use an event instead of just putting in a date? Well, think about it. Life isn't set in stone, right? Things change. So by creating an event, you're not locking in a rigid date. You're creating a flexible, movable point on your timeline. And that one simple idea, it's what makes the entire plan so powerful and adaptable.
And the magic is in how you actually use this flexibility. Let's say you're thinking, what if I retired a year earlier? Or maybe you need to push that big trip back a couple of years. You don't have to pull out a calculator and redo a bunch of spreadsheets. No way. You literally just click on the event, drag it up or down the timeline, and bam, the entire financial plan recalculates right before your eyes. It's totally dynamic.
Okay, let's make this super practical. Say our client, John, wants to plan for that classic sports car. Easy. We just create a new event, we'll name it John's Sports Car, and assign it to him. We can even pick a fun little icon. Yeah, let's go with midlife crisis. And then we set the timing to his age, maybe age 55, and just like that, boom, it's a brand new landmark on his timeline.
And this isn't just for one person either. What if the family also wants to plan for their daughter Martina's wedding? Same deal. You add a new event, you assign it to Martina, and you set it for when she's going to be 25. And check this out. See the color coding? John's events are one color, Martina's are another. It's so cool because you can see everyone's key life moments all on one single shared timeline. All right, so now we've got these awesome landmarks on our map. But a map of destinations is kind of useless if you don't know how much it'll cost to get there, right? So the next logical step is to start attaching some price tags to these life events.
Now this is a really, really important point. That John's sports car event we just made,
It doesn't automatically pull any money out of his account. An event is just a pin on the map. That's it. It just marks a point in time. It's the when, not the how much.
Yep, to put it simply, an event is just a placeholder. It anchors a specific moment in your future story, but it doesn't have a price tag, at least not yet. That's the next step.
The money part, that comes in with what's called a goal. A goal is the actual, trackable expense that you link to an event. So for the John's sports car event, we'd create a goal for, say, $70,000. See that? This separation of the timing, the event, from the financial hit, the goal, is what keeps the whole thing so neat and tidy and so incredibly flexible.
Okay, so we've been focused on specific moments, right? Dropping pins on the map. Now, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. How do we see the broader chapters of our lives? Well, that's where something called stages comes in.
And stages are pretty much exactly what they sound like. They let you group chunks of years on your timeline into distinct phases of life. So out of the box, you might just see pre-retirement and retirement. They basically give your timeline a story arc, highlighting those major shifts in your life.
So this is what you might see at first. Retirement is just one giant block of time from age 65 all the way to 90. I mean, it's accurate, sure, but it's not very personal, is it? Because we all know that not all retirement years are created equal.
But check this out. We can take that one big block and split it into stages that actually tell a story. Maybe the years from 65 to 80 are your active retirement. That's when you're traveling and doing all your hobbies. And then maybe the years after that are for slowing down. All of a sudden, the plan feels so much more personal and way more realistic.
So why do this? What's the point? It's because stages add that personal narrative. They add a ton of visual clarity, and they highlight how your needs and goals are naturally going to change over time. Honestly, it's what turns a basic timeline into a real story about your future.
All right, let's put all these pieces together. What happens when you combine the events, the goals, and the stages? Well, your plan stops being some boring static report, and it turns into something, something alive. You've got the individual events, the financial goals that are attached to them, and the broader stages of your life. They all just work together perfectly. They're the ingredients that transform a rigid, old-school document into a living, breathing story of your life. A story that you can change and adapt as your own life unfolds.
So what's the bottom line? The end result of all this is a plan that is, first off, super visual and easy to understand. It's also incredibly flexible, so it can handle all the curveballs life is going to throw at you. And most importantly, it's deeply, deeply personal. It's a true reflection of your unique journey. And all of this leaves us with one final thought. Having this kind of clarity, this visual map of your potential future, that's an incredibly powerful thing to have. So it really begs the question, if you could see your financial future laid out just like this, what would you change starting today?
Planning your financial future, it can feel like you're trying to map a country that doesn't even exist yet. It's a pretty big shift, right? Going from a static document to a living, breathing story. The reason I love this visual approach isn't just because it looks better. It's because it's honest. It accounts for the fact that you might change your mind about when you want to retire, or that your daughter's wedding might happen sooner than you thought. When your plan is this flexible, the what-ifs stop being scary, start being exciting. So here is my challenge for you. If you could see your future laid out on a map like this right now, what's the first thing you'd move? What's the one goal you've been pushing back that you might actually be able to bring forward? If you're ready to stop staring at spreadsheets and start building your map, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see how this visual story applies to your specific situation, check out the resources I've linked below. Let's stop guessing and start mapping. I'll see you in the next video.